Um, but okay, I digress. Damien Wayne, for our listeners who don't know you and are not very familiar with you, how about you let our fans know where you got started, who trained you, and things like that. Let them know about the early days.
Well, it was something, I always wanted to do, and then as time passed me by a little bit, I didn't ever think I was going to have the possibility of doing it, and I stumbled across VCW, which at that time was Virginia Championship Wrestling, and pretty much they were running shows in my backyard, and I had no, clue that they were even there, so I guess that kind of shows you they're promoting, but they drew great crowds from what I understood, so I found them on the internet. I hit them up, and I just wanted to get in business, even if it was just referee or I was 166 pounds, 30 years old, so I just wanted to get in. So I hit them up. They were just getting ready to open up a school. We had a tryout. There was probably about 27 guys at the tryout. Then the next closest guy to me age-wise was 22, so I was like 8 years older than everybody there. So I was like, yeah, this is really going to go good. But it went great. I was part of the first class. There was 26 guys that very first class. It was a Wednesday evening. And out of those 26 guys from to the end, I was the only one to make it out of those first 26 guys. Had a great bunch of guys come like 2, 3 weeks, a month later, like Chris Escobar, Mike Booth, and Shane Falco, and a bunch of them guys. But out of those first initial ones, my old ass was the only one to make it. So it started from there, and look at me now. So I can't complain. It worked out great, and so that's I got trained by Preston Quinn and Phil Brown. So to this day, I thank the Lord that I got trained the right way by two great guys, and they took me under their wings, and they really they passed on knowledge to me, and from there, I was happy. I was like, shoot, I'm wrestling. I'm in the ring. I've lived my dream, and so I was happy with that until I kept hearing my name. Well, actually, at that time, I was teaming with Mike Booth. We were broke into business together as the Old School Empire, and we kind of got lucky because they told us probably about 2 months into training that they were going to put us as a team. So about our last 4 months of training, we got to train as a tag team. So that worked out really, really great for us. And we teamed for about 5 years, and not to toot our own horn, but we were probably the best team running on the Mid-Atlantic until he got hurt. And he got hurt, was out for 6 months, and my single career kind of took off from there. So, look at me now.
So, Damien,
And
is it true that you have a connection with a member of the Four Horsemen?
Yeah, somewhat, if you want to say that. I had the privilege to run the roads with Baby Doll, and learn a lot from her, and she kind of got me talking to Tully Blanchard there for a little bit, and then I had the opportunity to train with Tully for about 4 months through Greg Price, the man who runs the Legends Fest in Charlotte. He was running a few shows, so we got to train with Tully, and Tully was our booker, so between Baby Doll and Tully, I learned a lot.
So, what do you think your takeaway from Tully Blanchard is, especially at a young age for for your career in wrestling? What was your biggest takeaway from somebody like Tully?
I just took it was weird because you always kind of taught a basic layout of a match. Is your baby shine, heel heat for 10 minutes, and then your big comeback. And just listening to him and then going back and actually watching it and being able to understand it, you want to take the crowd on a roller coaster ride. So doing the basic 3-minute baby shine at the beginning, 10-minute heat, you're not taking them on a complete roller coaster ride. And what he was meaning is if you go and watch him and say Ricky Morton, he'd put 2 or 3 minutes of heat, come back by Ricky, boom, cut off. 2 minutes, 3 minutes of heat, cut off. Baby shine, cut off. It was up and down, up and down. And I put that in my matches now. Just to me, it makes me feel like those guys can shine better than the heel beating the shit out of the baby all the time. So, you know, I learned that, and that really stuck in my head. You know, and I made sure, another thing I made sure was after our matches, he would pull each set of guys. As soon as they got through the curtain, he pulled them to the side, told them what they did good and what they did bad, and I made sure I was standing right there in their distance for every single freaking one of them. So I learned a lot. I mean, I could sit here all night and tell you what I learned from him. So.
Yeah, the man's a legend. He's got a lot to, to teach even today. Interesting thing is Will and I talked to Diamond Dallas Page last week, and there's some parallels, I guess. DDP didn't really start his wrestling career until he was in his mid-30s. Damien, you kind of got started in the early 30s, I think, when you first got in, right? What took you so long?
Well, I was a baseball head, and so I kind of thought I was going to go somewhere with baseball till I blew my shoulder out. Plus, you know, I grew up in the 80s, and there wasn't no small wrestlers. There wasn't no Rey Mysterios and whatnot. And I think I even checked into the Lou Thez wrestling school that was here in Virginia Beach, and he even said that you had to weigh at least 200 pounds to even get into school. And like I said, I was 166 pounds at that time, and I think the most I ever weighed in my life at that time, even working out wise, was like 189, 190 pounds. I never broke 200. And so I was like, this ain't never going to happen. And like I said earlier, I stumbled upon it, and I didn't care if I was a ref, anything behind the scenes or whatnot. I just, wanted to be in the business. I mean, my first live match, I was 7 years old, and I was hooked. So it was just, I took the chance, and I said, what the hell, let's go for it. And look at me.
Let's hand it back off to the Morning Star, Will Huckabee.
Well, I know all about D-Dub, of course, like I say. But you've had such a great career up to this point. You've had a chance to work for WWE and Ring of Honor and FIP and everything else. What are some of your fondest memories so far as wrestling goes?
I would probably have to say my two best memories would be the two times I got to wrestle for WWE at the Hampton Coliseum, which is where I grew up watching Crockett Promotions, and remembering being 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, telling my friends, I'm going to wrestle here one day, you watch, I'm going to do it, you watch. And damn if I didn't, and for the biggest company in wrestling. So I had to say those are my two greatest memories in the sport. So.
For those not familiar, Damien, who were you on television, or did you have a different name? Or how did everybody recognize you then?
Yeah, it's funny. The first time at Hampton was me and Phil Brown, which was one of my trainers, against the Highlanders. And Phil's from this area, and I'm from this area. We're both about the same age. He went to Hampton High School. I went to Kickingham High School, which are rival high schools and whatnot. So when we come out, and they use my real name, which is my shoot name's Wayne Costle. So they actually used my shoot name, and we got a huge ovation from the freaking crowd. So that was pretty wild. And then actually, my night the next time I got to work Hacksaw Jim Duggan. And both of those were on Sunday Night Heat at that time. I think this was like 07, 08. And so I got to work Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and when I came out, huge Damien Wayne chant, huge Old School Empire OSE chant, to where I had many, many fans come to me later and tell me that they had security come and telling them to stop the chant because they're trying to get their WWE guy over. So that was pretty wild.
Oh, that's cool. You know what? Maybe I want to ask you a question. I'm going to read you a quote from somebody, and you tell me who this person is, okay?
All right.
I was talking to somebody about you today and that you're going to be on the program tonight. Hells yeah, wrestled him in singles a bunch and tags too. He got me back in the business. I walked away in 2009 to 2011. He found me, asked me to come back, said you have a lot to teach and give. He is the only reason I am back, the only reason I got the reality show deal.
Cue Ball Carmichael.
Cue Ball Carmichael is right. We've had Cue Ball on our show before, and he is very respectful when he speaks of you. I guess you've had matches with him as you were champion. You've defended against Cue Ball Carmichael on some occasions. I guess what are your takeaways with Cue Ball? He's been a legend in this business on the indie scene for many years.
Oh, I loved it. I loved every minute of first couple of matches out of, respect and brotherhood, and then, lightly, of course, everybody knows the tension between the LOK and the Fold, but very, very, knowledgeable. I learned a lot working him. I enjoyed it. He's just as hard-hitting and snug as I am, so I enjoyed it, very much. Will knows, the harder you hit me, the more I like it, so.
Oh my goodness!
I enjoyed every minute of working Cue Ball, and I enjoyed his friendship outside the ring. But when we step through the ropes, it's a whole different story.
So can you tell me about the first night that you and he wrestled?
Well, we just knew, even as friends, we knew this match was going to be brutal. We were both going to go in balls to the wall, and we both said it was going to be a fight in the bloodbath, and we said that for 2 to 3 months all over any social website that we were on, and so we get there, and show goes on, we're in the main event, 2 hours goes by, and it's 5 minutes before we're getting ready to go out, and they said, "Oh, y'all can't bleed in the ring." We're like, "Okay, what?" It was speechless, and we looked at each other, and we had the same look in our eyes, and we went out there and had a bloodbath. We kept it outside the ring as much as we could, but we took it in there for the finish, and we made sure we got plenty of blood all over the canvas.
And Damien, would you care to tell me what happened after the show?
Not much. I mean, who the fuck's going to do something to me in Cue Ball?
Cue Ball said something to the effect of $320 worth of shots in 2 hours.
Oh, you want to talk about that afterwards?
Ooh, that's a lot of drinking.
Yeah, we went out and had a good time. I'm not a drinker. I'll sit right here and tell you I'm the cheapest date and the weakest drinker there is possible for a man. And I tried to hang with him. I tried. And it just didn't happen.
Cue Ball was wanting to come on here and actually talk to you tonight, but he had a bad night with his dog last night and is in desperate need of some sleep. But he was asking if you would be kind enough to talk about the camps because you were one of his key guys.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It was the first time I actually got to do something like that, and it was one of the funnest things that I got to do so far. And, because I enjoy to teach. I enjoy, like I said earlier, I'm a baseball head also. I played baseball for 23 years, and I got to coach it a few times, 13 and 14-year-olds, and it's a passion of mine. And actually, when I get out of this business, I wouldn't mind getting my teaching degree to be able to coach varsity baseball. But so I love to teach wrestling. I've had the opportunity, like I said earlier, I was trained by 2 of the greatest guys in this business, and they trained me the right way. I've traveled as much as I can possibly travel and met some of the best legends in this business and was able to learn from them. So yeah, I feel in my head and heart I got a lot to give back to people who want to learn. And there was a group of guys that come to our camp. Pat Cusick and Cue Ball, took them in for 3 days, and they sat there and listened to everything we had to say. And by the time Sunday came, their squares were rounded off, and they turned out to be really much great guys. And I wouldn't mind working every single one of them. I'm trying to hook it up to work a couple of them now as we speak. But the camps were great. It was a fun time. It felt like a brotherhood. We hang out together, we ate together. A bunch of them sat up. I'm an old man. I kind of got to go to bed early, but they sat up all night watching, videos of old matches and whatnot. But I can't wait for the next one. We were supposed to have one coming up here, but Q's got to go out to L.A., so that one kind of had to be put on hold, but I actually got to do one last weekend, which was my first one by myself at AIWF Mid-Atlantic, and that was a joy. So I hope I get to do more of them, man.